Welcome back, my anime family and my comic book community. Let's talk the Kengan Baki crossover event. Now, for those that don't know me, I'm actually a huge Baki fan. I actually started watching the original Baki the Grappler on DVD, and for a very long time, it was my favorite fighting anime, actually beating out Dragon Ball Z and Street Fighter. But all that changed once Kengan Ashura came out. This anime was a very, very tough contender for Baki for me, especially because the fights were so well choreographed. I really fell in love with the main character's journey, and the plot twists and turns in the story really kept me engaged. This anime exceeded my expectations, especially because I'm not that much of a fan of the 3D art style. So when it came out that they were having a crossover event with Baki, I had to watch it. It's taking me a little while to make this video, but I figured that since Kengan has new episodes out, it's actually the perfect time. So without further ado, let's get into it. Now, if I had to give the crossover event an overall grade, I would actually give it a 2.5 out of 5. Now look, before people start coming at me at the comment section, just hear me out. The crossover was decent, but I felt it was a little bit rushed. Meaning for me, this was far too many fights and character matchups for only 1 hour. I would have preferred them A, double the time, or B, put less fights in this hour-long time slot. Because we got Hanayama's, Jack's, and Baki's fight all within 1 hour. And given that fights between these characters usually run over a couple episodes, it just felt rushed watching them complete an entire fight in 20 minutes. Also, for me, the matchups weren't entirely that great, especially when it came to Hanayama. I would have much preferred you put him up against a powerhouse like Sekai Bayashi, rather than you put him up against Saul Pang. And I would much rather Saul Pang go up against Dopa Orochi's son, especially given the fact that their fathers had previously fought. Now, Jack and Ryan was a good matchup, and their fight was actually pretty okay. But like I said, because it felt so rushed, I didn't really feel engaged with it. I felt like it was over just as quickly as it started. And just a quick little bias, I didn't like the fact that they had my boy Jack losing. That's just my personal opinion, but it has nothing to do with the outcome of my rating for this overall series. The whole point of Baki and Kengan's fights is for both the characters to kind of develop the sense of respect for each other and also learn more about their ideals while they're fighting. But I felt like these fights lacked that. It was more or less like a Pokemon battle, like you attack, I attack, and then it's over. Especially when it came to Baki and Oma's fight. When watching this fight, it really feels like they just ran through every move that Oma and Baki had just for the sake of showing it. From Baki's bug technique and mock punch to Oma's Nico style and possessed by a god. It just felt like they wanted to pump out as much of these characters' attributes as possible within this 20-minute long time slot. And it didn't even feel like they were doing the moves in reaction to something else. It felt like they were showing it just because of fan service. Now, spoiler alert, this did end in a draw between Oma and Baki, which is something I kind of already expect. Between these two mega monster franchises, no one's gonna risk the integrity of their company by saying that their character lost. So I understood why it was a draw, but I would have loved their fight to be more built up and last an entire hour versus only 20 minutes. Now, the animation style for their fight was okay, but I would have actually preferred them do the 3D art style, because the one thing that Kengan Ashura has over Baki the Grappler in terms of fighting scenes in anime is the fact that they know how to use the 3D art style without coming across corny or oversaturated. Because the art style is in 3D, you're able to see more range of the moves and also more fluid movement when it comes to wrestling and striking. It actually feels like you're watching an actual fight versus an anime. So if they would have utilized this style in the crossover, it would have been perfect. Or at least had a mixture between the 2D and 3D like the actual Kengan show does. I think that would have been perfect too. And my last complaint before I get to what I liked about the series was that I didn't like the fact that they suggested that the Devil Lance was on par with the Yajiro. Now, my personal opinion, I would have preferred the Fang had that interaction with Yajiro versus the Devil Lance, because both of these characters have been built up to be the best in the series. Now, mind you, the making of this video is before I actually watch the new episodes of Kengan, so my opinion might change. Now, moving on to the good stuff, I do like the fact that they made Kengan and Baki one fluid universe. So it opens up endless possibilities for these characters to meet in the future. And I like the fact that no character got disrespected. The characters that did lose and that were on the losing end of the stick were completely watched by the other franchise. And the fight scenes, however short they were well animated. I was pleasantly surprised that Kengan's characters worked so good in 2D animation, even though I prefer the 3D. Also, the relationships between the characters were actually spot on and very, very funny and enjoyable. Like the one between Julius and Oliver and the one between the two heads of the organization. It was funny to see two similar but very different characters interact with each other. And even though the rating for the show for me is relatively low, I would not suggest it for someone else to watch. I think if you're a fan of both series, you'll highly enjoy it, although I do think there are some things that they could have drastically improved upon. But guys, that wraps up another video, and once again, thank you so much for sticking with me this long. But let me know in the comment section what you guys think about the anime. Do you think it's good as is, or would you have changed certain things like me? And if you haven't already, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that bell up top so you get notified of the latest and greatest video. Until next time, my fellow anime fighters, peace.